The following program deals with a controversial subject. The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
Oh boy, kidney stones can't keep us all down. Not every week. We got the guy back in the driver's seat this week. The boy Stein. How you feeling, brother?
I'm good now. But seriously though, thank you to everybody, all the well wishes. Thanks to Bryan and to Richie.
I was worried about you.
It hit me out of nowhere. I was teaching class on Friday, and like pain started happening. Popped some pain pills, didn't help. Just went and laid on my bed for like 3 hours. My wife came home. I was just sitting in a bathtub, because that's really the only thing that like helps the pain is just to sit in a bathtub with hot water.
Yeah,
man, it's bad. It sucks. Anybody who's ever had them, they suck. I've had them for like 20 years, but
what do they do? Well, I mean, besides give you pain pills, like what do they? I mean,
if they're bad enough and you can't get rid of them yourself, they'll put a stent in. They'll basically do like and it's as bad as you think. It's awful. But then they'll basically use like sonic waves to like smash it up. This time, and they told me at the hospital they were going to have to do a stent again, and I about passed out from that. But thank God I got this one I got rid of myself. So
yeah, thank God. But hey, listen, you picked a good time to get back at it, and all the Miles news is crazy. Everybody's going to watch, what is it, Edge of Spider-Verse 2, right?
Cross the Spider, yeah.
So, but Chad Cave's excited. He's looking forward to a Stein Stone and a mystery pack coming soon.
Hey,
nice.
I kept it for you, brother. I got it right here.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for hanging out. We got 58 live hanging out with us at the beginning. Frames missed due to rendering lag. I'm getting a little bit of rendering lag. Let me know if you guys are getting any issues on your side. That is the viewers. If you're getting any type of frames dropping or anything, I'm seeing a little bit of some issues. So I'm going to go and close a couple of the things that I got going. But yeah, appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of interesting stuff to get into. Starting off with our newest segment for all the fans out there. Make sure you guys go check out Richie's new channel, Spec Media, because, of course, he is killing it over there. We need to get him some extra subs. Yeah, rendering lag equals Stein's kidneys. Yes. But yeah, make sure you guys go sub up to the new Spec Media, link below, and let's get into Buy the Dip. All right, starting off, you guys. Starting off with an interesting one. We have got an old school Action Comics number 9. What's going on with this?
Yeah, so remember like what was it, like 2 years ago, year and a half ago, whenever they came out and said, oh, we're going to do a Calvin Ellis, whatever. This thing got super hot.
It was expensive. It was like 300 plus, right?
Oh my gosh, so freaking expensive. Yeah, it was. I mean, basically, yeah, it got. So a year ago, this was still a $250 book, and I think it was like 300. For this 1 and 200, it was like 300, and then even just a year ago, it was 250. This week, a near mint plus, so 9.6 raw copy, so it probably could be pressed to a 9.8, so for $67.
Wow.
What? I didn't even see that. Wow.
$67.
I'm gonna drink a little coffee milk on that one. For all the Calvin Ellis fans out there, go buy on the dip right there.
A little side note, I gotta tell you. So yeah, the dip is real. The struggle is real. This is not a joke. This shit is like Grand Canyon, bottom of the ocean kind of shit, and it's also sports cards as well. I'm gonna tell you a quick story before we get to the next book. So I pulled the Blazers, right? The Blazers case hit, right? With the lasers, the Blazers, right? And I didn't know it was a case hit, as I explained. And I looked after I got off the camera, and I looked at there was only 2 listings that sold, and they were like $400. And I went crazy. Then the next day, I see the auctions ending on a Wednesday. Who ends an auction on a Wednesday? But anyways, and it sold for like $170. I was pissed, dude. Pissed. I sent the guy a message. I said, "What are you doing in this auction on a Wednesday?" I wasn't mean about it, but I was like, "Hey man, I'm just trying to help, but you might want to end your auctions on a Sunday. Worst case scenario, on Monday on a 10-day. But you're tanking this card." He's like, "Why don't you buy it?" I didn't say. Yeah, it's real. Wow. Struggle's real.
It is, dude. We're seeing 60 to 70% drops across collectibles, especially in comics and cards right now. Those are the two I definitely know I'm seeing major drops. And this is a perfect example. This book was a crazy book, a year ago when the rumors started coming out. So, yeah, man, it is. It's very interesting. But one more time, was it a raw 9.6 or a CGC 9.6?
Raw near mint plus. So usually if they
near mint.
Yeah, usually if they usually if they list a raw at near mint plus, that means it's got a good shot to press to a 9.8. So
let me ask you something. Do you think it's smart right now just to be scouring eBay for looking for these low books like this and just buying the hell out of them, because these books like this are going to be coming back sometime soon?
If you have the cash flow to float,
yeah,
and you're going to have to probably float it for a while.
Good point.
But I mean, it really just comes down to if you. I know, for the longest time I was, basically buying any collectible that I was buying. I was just buying with just whatever extra money that I had. And it's hard to sit on stuff when that's all you're doing is just buying a few things here and there. You can't sit on anything. So if you got the money to sit, this is probably a great time to buy and just chill for a while.
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's continue on to the next book for Buy the Dip. Booster Gold #1 from 1985. Another character that people have just been waiting for to get its due. A much beloved character. And, with Jamie Reyes getting his Blue Beetle storyline out there, kind of feel bad for Booster Gold not getting any love. You think Blue Beetle will get some love. Maybe Booster Gold get a little love. Not anymore.
So what's funny about this book is this is kind of the this is like the our buddies, our southern, Richie's Southern California buddy. This was the book that started his massive rants about all these FOMO books. So this is kind of funny.
That one guy.
Yeah, your buddy.
Actually, it's my neighbor. I just found out. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So when this got hot last year, when all the Booster Gold, rumors and stuff, this thing jumped. 9.8s jumped to this to like $600-700. This is not a uncommon book. It's a very common book.
Right.
And I don't remember anybody saying go out and buy Booster Gold. I don't remember anybody saying that, but everybody that was like, hey, this might be a fun movie if it's cast right, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Nobody was saying go out and buy it, but people did. And now So when like I said, it was like $600-700, something like that. This week it sold a 9.8 sold for $260.
Oh wow.
So
Wow, I'm all over that. This is like one of those not only booster, but there's like 3 or 4 more first appearances in there. I think I mean they're like, CD characters, but I mean, you figure when that news come out, Brian, like January, February of this year, when HBO Max was saying the Loser from the Future or whatever series. I mean, what if these characters end up being in that series? It's a great time to invest in that. That's a good play.
Yeah, I agree. And for 9.8 for this is a great book too. It's one of those characters that there's a huge following, like an underground following of Booster Gold fans out there, Booster and Blue Beetle fans. But all right, let's continue on. Next book on By the Dip, Marvel Spotlight, issue number 32, first appearance of Spider-Woman, our friend Solo Wookie's favorite female heroine. He's always buying Spider-Woman books. He's going to be happy he can go score some cheap 9.8s hopefully soon.
Solo.
What's going on with this?
Yeah, so caveat to the entire list for tonight. I have not seen Into the Spider-Verse yet. So
Neither have I. I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah, so
Really?
I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to. I haven't seen it. I'm actually headed out for vacation tomorrow, and so hopefully this week I'll get to be able to. We'll be able to go and see it. But I haven't seen it, so I don't really know exactly what role what role she's playing in this or anything like this. All I know is that, like, what was it, like a year ago? This was like a $1,500 9.6, something like that. I mean, it was expensive. It sold this week for 9.6, sold $430. So
Yeah, I mean, just what we were talking about backstage. I checked cover price. Shout out to Matt DeVoe, coverprice.com. You guys, great site, analytics, all real sales. Yeah, and I checked the like Ben always says, you got to take that 2020 pandemic out, and then we cruise over to the 2021 into 2022. I mean, it was like double that, and then now it's a fraction of that.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, I wish I had better. I wish I had better information on what what Spider-Woman is doing in the movie. I have no idea, but so I have no information on that. Whoever's seen it, I'm sure probably already knows whether it's good, bad. I have no idea because I haven't seen it, and I tried really hard not to read too many spoilers, but I did have to put the list together, so I was trying to figure out why certain things were selling, or if it was real or whatever was going on. So I tried to look some things, but I didn't get in too much detail.
Well,
on it.
here's the thing. I think let me know if my mic sounds okay, you guys. I'm getting a little feedback on
Sounds
my end.
great.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Sound good.
One of the things that's very interesting is that I think Spider-Woman is one of the characters that they're really going to push going forward. That whole Madam Web thing is coming out too, so it's going to be interesting how that plays out, if that's going to still continue to come out. I know nobody's really caring about that book after all the, the Miles talk. And I think that it's a great character overall, but
I agree.
The prices on this book for a while there were just like crazy. So anyways.
No, that's a good point. I agree with you all around. That's solid.
Yeah. All right. Next on By the Dip, one of my favorite books of the year, Sins of Sinister #1, the Art Germ Virgin 1 in 100 variant. Man, this is a great book right here. I'm all over buying the dip on this one.
Yeah, and I think everybody, I won't say everybody, but I would say most people figured that at some point, because most of these 1 in 100 Marvel #1 issues, even if they're like in a magnificent cover, at some point drop back down. Now that's not always the case, because you look at like the Ghost Spider, that never came down. There's a couple other ones that never came down, but this one did. 9/8 of this were selling for basically like 300-400,
Yep.
pretty consistently. But then this week, basically the lowest sale ever by 20%. A 9/8 sold for 230, so that was the lowest by far. Like the I think the next lowest sale ever was like 280 or 290. So it beat that one by a bunch. But again, these people that put these things up for auctions, man, you're just taking a huge risk. I mean, you could have, even if you listed it for lower than the lowest price ever, you could have still made an extra 40 or $50 out of it and probably still sold it. So I don't know why you do these auctions that end at weird times and stuff like that. It's just strange. But
Yeah. How many do you think there are of these out there? How many do you think they printed? I know it's a 1 in 100. They must have printed so many issues of Sins of Sinister, and I think there was a ton of. Wasn't there a ton of variants, retailer variants for it?
Yeah, I think it went all the way up. I mean, if you ordered that many copies, I mean, you got a bunch of incentives all the way up. Plus, it's a X-Men #1 issue, like you were saying. But this book was on the list, right? Like 2 years ago. I remember. Yeah, so
not even 2
no,
years
this
ago.
is
This came out recently. Yeah.
Just like 6 months ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was on the list. Like, okay, maybe it wasn't 2 years ago. Maybe it was like
Yeah.
6 months ago. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, this series was supposed to be really good, and I was really looking forward to it. I mean, it's still kind of going on, right? I don't think it's necessarily done, but
it's like mashups of Sinister,
yeah,
right? All these characters, like
weird.
X-23 is like half Sinister and half X-23.
Yeah,
like weird.
They kind of lost me when they brought back. Spoiler alert! When they brought back Magneto, I was kind of like, "What the hell is going on here?" But anyways, I just said the same thing when they killed him. Next on Buy the Dip, Captain America issue #6. I love this book. I'll always love this book. Brubaker, Epting, great character. Probably one of the best series / storylines in comics in 50 years, I imagine. This is one of those storylines that everybody should read if you're a comics fan. So, such a great character too, Winter Soldier.
No, I agree. And this book has been on the Hot 10 list like probably multiple different times over multiple different years. It's probably one of the most yo-yo books out there. Like it just goes up and it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. I mean, it's just constant. But it's still, I mean, if you really think about Winter Soldier, I mean, my gosh, I mean, that character is basically just common knowledge now for the mass public. I like the Winter Soldier variant better because he's on the cover. But this is still a really good cover. I mean, it's still a great cover.
Absolutely.
A CGC 9/8 of this sold this week for $135.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is like way back on the bottom of this again. I feel like at some point, because this book goes on roller coasters, it's probably going to go up again at some point. So it's like, I mean, you can definitely take a chance on it. I don't think Winter Soldier's going anywhere.
No, and shout out to Longshort. We've been me, him, Ben, and Brian. We when we were on Flipside as well, we've been talking about this. But matter of fact, I think Ben bought this book from me in a freaking whatnot auction that I was getting killed on, and he felt bad for me, so he put like $100 on there for me.
I bought the variant, and then I graded it and got a 9/8.
I cracked a 9.6 for him, and then I was gonna CPR it, but then I just like I just like broke all the time, so I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna sell this thing, and then he hits me up. He's like, guess what, Chungy pressed it and he got a 9.8. But yeah, I mean, okay, so they adapted the character, the Russo brothers, who are phenomenal. They did really well. They did really well by him. I just don't like what they did after the Russos. How he became kind of like this, like good guy kind of like sidekick who has all these mental problems, and all he has is now is like a metal arm and a drama alert in his head. Like he's just, you know what I mean? Like I really wish they either they would have just kind of just put him in the back burner and waited till the Russos came back and kept him as a bad guy, or B, they just did more with him. But I mean, I don't see him switching from going back to Bucky. I mean, he's technically Bucky Barnes, but I mean, I don't see him going back to that character. I think he's always going to be the Winter Soldier. And if you're watching MCU, I think it'd be a good idea to swing a storyline on Bucky and twist him up, make him a bad guy again. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, if they pull it off. I don't know, man. Bucky's such a great character in the MCU. I'm really surprised that. Yeah. Again, 60 to 70%, I feel like, on the majority of the stuff out there, unless it's new and it gets hot for a little bit, it's going to drop in a couple of weeks. So, but there are some books out there that are really taking off. Again, I suggest everybody, if you have the ability to, buy the books, buy those keys, man, buy the books that we're talking about, buy on the dip, buy those old school, rare, high grade stuff that you never thought you were going to be able to get, because you'll be able to pick them up for cheap. Shout out to Funhouse Comics. Appreciate you, brother. All right, let's jump over. I think was this the final one? Nope. Yep, that was the final one. So let's go ahead and jump over to there we go. Funhouse in the house. Funhouse. Moving on to the Almost 10. All right. Starting off with I love this cover. I love the white on the sides. This is the second printing variant for Ultimate Comics Spider-Man issue number 3. We're going to see a lot of Spider-Verse books. You guys already know this, and it continues here with this book, right? Great. Is this Kari Andrews cover? Is that a Kari Andrews cover? Who did this?
Let me see. Yep, I see Kari's name right there, right there below his butt.
Yeah.
This
is the look at my butt cover. You're right, AOA.
I think this was an all-time high. So this week, a CGC 9.8 of this sold for $750, which seems really, really high for me. But hey, I mean, I'm all for some of these second prints that are hard to find. But $750 seems like a lot, especially in this market. But I mean, right now, Miles, everything. I mean, you're going to see it, like Brian said, all over the place.
Miles Mania Part 2.
And it shouldn't be. It should not be a shock to anybody, right? I mean, how in the world is anybody shocked by this?
Well, I think the interesting thing will be to see how long it lasts. Right? How long will these books stay hot? Will it be a week?
Well, I mean, I think with Part 3 coming in March of next year, I think there's a chance it could just kind of sustain itself because there's not going to be any lag, right? I mean, this movie's probably going to go probably stay at the box office through probably at least July, maybe into August, and still be relevant.
Shout out
I mean,
to
basically,
Mrs.
then you're only talking like 7 more months, and the next movie's coming out. So,
man. I feel like shout out to Chad Cave, $25 for prune juice. I don't think prune juice help kidney stones.
It helps solid stool.
Well, yeah, man, crazy. I feel like it's time to everybody that's been waiting to sell those books. You can't wait any longer. This is the time. I know everybody's saying, wait for the Miles, live action trailer. I feel like that's too long to wait for some of these. I think I think that what we're gonna have is we're gonna have it go hot for the next week or two because of Edge of the Spider-Verse, and then it's gonna drop again. You could probably buy the books that you just sold again for 50% of what you sold them for, and then sell them again. That's the play on this. I think you just sell your Miles stuff as fast as possible. All your Spider-Verse stuff, sell it. Unless you really want it and you really want to keep it. I'm cool with that.
Right. And there's tons of Ultimate Fallout 4s, and I mean, okay, and just what Brian said, great point, and I'm going to go ahead and allude to that. We're going to have the Miles and X-Men 97 spec show today, but you guys know what I'm trying to do at work, and today was the last day, so I had to push it to tomorrow at 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. We're going to talk about that. But yeah, I mean, there's tons of Ultimate Fallout 4s. There's tons of really good Miles variants and stuff. So yeah, you could buy it again.
Here's the other thing too. Amy Pascal has lied about stuff in the past, or not necessarily lied about stuff, but she's been full of shit in the past, and she doesn't have the greatest track record. As a matter of fact, I've talked to a couple of people who like follow that stuff very closely or are in the movie industry, and they said the same thing. Like, maybe I'd believe it if Amy Pascal didn't say it, that type of thing. We all know it's going to happen eventually. Who knows if it's going to happen that fast? Maybe she's just got excited, but we'll see. There's a chance that it could be a while before we actually see anything live action Miles. We all said it though on this show. Here's the funny thing. This is what I love. You ready for this, you guys? If you guys haven't heard it yet, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. You're going to be hearing I told you so from every comic book content person out there that's going to say, I told you, Miles Morales. Should have listened to put your money in Miles Morales. Yeah, we get it, okay? We get it. Everybody knew that Miles Morales was going to be a hit. Everybody knows that Miles Morales is going to show up sometime. But here's the interesting thing. A lot of us thought that the way that it was going to play out was through the live action post Kang, battle, and where we have to do the Secret Wars stuff, Avengers Secret Wars. That was where Miles was going to come out. It's a perfect way to play it out. That's a ways down the line, I don't see them really bringing him out until that anyways. But Doc Joe, do you think he's still overpriced? I don't know, man. Is he still overpriced? We'll have to pay attention to that here for the rest of the show. What'd you say this was selling for again?
A 9.8 sold for $750.
Okay, all right. We'll give you one there, Doc. Let's move on and see what we got next. Oh, okay. This is another good one. Spider-Man 2099. This is issue number 3, the John Tyler Christopher 1/25 variant. Such a killer JTC cover, and a classic, tough to find ghost book. Another Edge of Spider-Verse great character. What's going on here?
So this one was kind of like the talk of Instagram this week. So I wasn't going to put it on here because there were so many people that already kind of talked about it, but I did put it on here because of who sold it. It was our buddy Chloe. Chloe's Comic Swag really doesn't sell many books, but he actually sold this one. CGC 9.8 of this sold for a crazy $3,200, which is just insanity.
Great play.
What's really fun? Oh man, that's expensive. It is just a 1/25. Yes, I get it's number 3, but man, this book I actually gave this book. Was in one of my Stein Pack 6s, a raw copy. So somebody out there's got
Wow.
it. I don't remember who's got it, but somebody's got this. So if you remember whoever got it from me, I mean, press it, grade it. I have no idea. But 3,200 seems absolute. But again, I wanted to put it on here only because I wanted to shout out our buddy Chloe's Comic Swag.
Well, it also came out on my birthday, so I need to get me one of those.
Oh, yeah.
September 3rd, 2014. You guys, there's people out there that do that. They'll buy like their birthday books. They'll find out the books that came out on their birthday, then the month they were born, that type of thing. And they love to get stamped copies type deal. So if anybody wants to send me one of these because it came out on my birthday, much appreciated.
Hey, that's a good topic for the Discord.
There you go.
I'll
It's
send-
comic collecting.
I'll send you the A cover.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Moving on. Shout out to Chloe's Comic Swag. Let's move on to the next one. This right here, you guys, is my cover of the year candidate. This is one of the most beautiful images that Sozamaika has ever produced. I saw this on her IG or Twitter months ago, and I hit up Drew at Wanted Comics, who's been working with her for a while, and I said, Drew, you got to figure out a way to get that cover on a book. And I'm sure he hit her up, and she said, man, already gave that one to Dynamite because this thing is freaking gorgeous. Vampirella, just beautiful, 1 in 20 Virgin variant. This is Vampirella versus the Superpowers, issue number 1. There's a couple other, there's a trade dress version. There's a real cool like gold tint version that I really like. But man, this is beautiful.
Yeah, Funhouse, that sold for $3,200. That JTC Spider-Man. Wow, I'm surprised, to be honest, Brian. This is not my favorite cover.
Oh, I love it, bro.
I don't know what. There's something. I don't know.
I feel like this
off.
is her art has kind of taken a jump. It feels like she's gotten cleaner on her art. I love the pose. I love the hair. It's something you don't see. It's just, I love it. I think it's a great image. It's good.
I mean, I will say that her face looks more anime-ish than probably what, like, I think of like her Catwoman covers, and she didn't look anime-ish at all. Catwoman didn't look anime-ish at all. But here, Vampirella looks a little anime-ish. Maybe that's what is kind of like throwing myself visually off on this. But yeah, so there's a few books that were gonna be on the Almost 10 last week, but we obviously didn't have a show. This would have been on the Almost 10 last week, but it's continued sales this week. This one is still selling for like $30 to $40. Some sales were a little bit higher than $40, but generally like in the $30 to $40 range. Which again, for these Dynamite books where they've got 87 variants, that's pretty good that one is actually standing out.
Yeah. There's a couple good ones. Check out the different color tinting on this. It might be something that you guys that think there's something off with this might change it. Maybe the red background with the red bikini thing, whatever. I don't know if you can call that a bikini. It looks like just all one piece.
How do you think Vampirella came up with this outfit back in the 70s or 60s, late 60s,
I think
early
a bunch
70s?
of old comic book men came up with the outfit, not Vampirella, because I don't think a chick would be down to like wear that all the time. But maybe.
Well, I mean, you think about like bikinis back in that time, like this probably is something you would see at the beach now.
For Zeta,
but
yeah.
Like 60 years ago, you would not have seen this at a beach. So where did they come up with that idea? Did they spur the actual bikinis to look like this?
We'll have to do a deep dive on that. I think that'll be an enjoyable deep dive. We'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Next book on the Almost 10. This is an interesting one. Eternal Blue, a Spirit Box graphic novel. This was it was tough for me to find a little bit of information about this, but it's from Z2 Comics and Spirit Box. And it's an easy to find book, but it's very interesting. Why'd you decide to put it on the list?
I don't really know much about this. The cover is pretty cool cover, and I really like the cover a lot on this. And I think that there is a variant. Is there a variant of this?
I haven't been able to find any variants. It's a paperback graphic novel, so I think it's a little thick. You can still find them out there online. I will say that. So if you guys want to go see if you can pick it one of these up, find a nice little buy on it. What is it selling on the secondary?
Yeah, it sold on eBay this week for $150.
Wow.
There
Well,
is a variant. There is a deluxe edition.
Okay.
But the deluxe edition is not what sold for 150. It's this one that sold for 150.
Okay, so let me find this here. I'm at Z2 Comics.
I love the cover.
Eternal Blue, a Spirit Box graphic novel. Yeah, this is interesting. Check it out. Let's take a look here.
What other comics did Z2 make?
I don't know, but check this out. There's the book. They want $100 for it, but it looks like it comes with that. And
that's
I don't
cool.
know. It says Ava is a popular painter on the verge of unbelievable acclaim and success, but her inability to reconcile the public perception of who she is versus the actual self allows the spirit box to transport her to a surreal world where she finds herself trapped in the realm where all of our false shadows become real and dangerous. It comes with the standard edition hardcover. The Spirit Box, which is a limited edition number Spirit Box, which is right here, which is cool. If you guys don't know about the Spirit Box, the real Spirit Box, it's kind of scary, like a Ed and Lorraine Warren scary type shit.
Totally.
Yeah. And then it comes with a signed platinum edition, oversized hand-signed hardcover of 500. So I imagine that might be it. No, a bonus art print of the original graphic novel concept art. So, yeah, this looks kind of interesting. That's a huge jump, man.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
My question,
since you can still buy it.
My question is she wearing a bodysuit or she has no areolas?
Jesus.
Oh man, did Red Hood replace?
I don't know where that came from. Red Hood, get down.
Oh my God. Yeah, there are other box sets out there with other prints. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Well, I like it. Sounds interesting. Sounds cool. Jim Kruger wrote it, and yeah, let me know if anybody out there is picking any of these up. All right. Next. One of my favorite series of all time, Hackslash. This is from Hackslash's series. This is issue number 25. They have a couple really good issue 25s in both of the volumes, volume 1 and 2. This is volume 1, I think, right? And then volume 2 has some really good variants too. But this is the San Diego Comic-Con variant for issue number 25, 2009. Tough book to find. Really tough book to find.
Yeah, this one sold for $85 this week. I couldn't really find any other sales anywhere on this thing. And I started to think about some of these con variants that are of some of these lesser known books. Like 10 years from now, some of these books that sell at, this year's San Diego, you will not be able to find. Like they're just flat impossible to find, which is such a weird, like initially they're everywhere. And then these books just kind of disappear forever. Like you never see them surface again. Like where do these collections go is my question.
Here's what I do know about Hackslash. Hackslash has that perfect storm, right? People love the series. People love Tim Seeley. And there's a lot of Devil's Due publishing fans out there from this time in Devil's Due. Great time period for that. I'm a big Josh Blaylock and Tim Seeley fan because of Devil's Due. Hackslash is one of my favorite all-time comic book series, and just great covers on most of them. They had a great eye for variants and stuff when the variant stuff was first kind of hitting. just classic series. So be on the lookout. There's some really rare Hackslash stuff out there too. Early Jenny Frison work in Hackslash. Her very first ever cover was a Hackslash book. It was her very first ever cover that she was commissioned to do. It came out, got delayed, so it came out after her second cover. So it's not her first published cover, but it's her first cover she was ever commissioned to do, and her first cover she ever drew. But it came out after Voltron, like,
wow,
yeah, a couple of days after Voltron, I think. So, yeah.
Good info, man.
What'd you say this was selling for?
$85, and I have no idea what the print run is on this.
Interesting. Cool book. Let us know if you guys own one of these in the comments below. I'd love to hear, and if you picked it up at San Diego. All right, moving on. This is a cool one too. Scarface, Scarred for Life. This is issue number 1, the photo cover, cover B. Great signature series book right here, you guys.
Yeah, and it's got the cool old IDW light bulb trade dress, which I freaking love. I wish IDW would just go back to that. Why do they not? Because that was such a cool logo. I don't know why they didn't do it, but yeah, I was sitting there thinking about this. I wonder if because of the weird Al Pacino news this week that he's going to be a dad at 83 years old or whatever.
Is that Al Pacino or is that
Al Pacino? No, it's Al
really?
Pacino,
I thought for some reason I thought is it Al Pacino's going to be a dad? But so isn't
De Niro?
De Niro's going to be a dad too.
Well, De Niro responded to it, and I don't know what he said, but it was like a top story on the news.
De Niro's got a 29-year-old girlfriend that's pregnant, and he's 89 years old.
It's bizarre.
Have you seen Dirty Grandpa?
No.
Oh man, especially if you smoke strain and it's flowered, you gotta watch that, and you'll see why he got a 29-year-old pregnant.
So I was sitting there thinking, well, maybe does that have something to do with it? I mean, which would be really odd if it did, but yeah, CGC 9.8 of this sold for an all-time high $200 for this.
Wow.
For a B cover.
Probably tough to find, dude.
Probably is.
How many people are looking at Scarface books in their local comic shop, though?
I'll be honest, I'm not even sure I knew that there was a Scarface comic book.
Yeah, the only time I ever remember is when I see this book show up somewhere. So, yeah. Yeah, the chat's great right now. Yeah.
Yeah, chat's fire tonight.
Yeah, so, all right, let's move on. Next. This is a tough one to find any information on. I have no idea where this came from. It's tough to even find a picture. The only picture I could find was from the sale. This is Game of Thrones number 6, the Dynamite Comics blank variant.
So strange, right? I mean, there's a few blank variants out there that are really hard to find, and they command decent money. There's a Walking Dead one that I think commands decent money. There's a Daredevil that does pretty well. I think the Bitter Root blank one does really well, but not big dollars or anything like that. This one sold for I think it sold multiple times for 200, 2 different sales or multiple sales, like $200 for a blank Game of Thrones. Now this may be the only Game of Thrones blank variant, but still $200 for a blank.
Lord of Brooklyn says 1 for 11. So does that mean you have this one, BK? Because if you do, I want to know where you got it. I can't find any information on this thing.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from, or if it was a store variant. And the only thing I could maybe think on this one, which I don't think I'd want it on this one, but I did see Amelia Clark is doing a signing, I think through CGC. So that may have something to do with it, but I think I would rather, if I was going to get an Amelia Clark signature, I would want that Midtown Daenerys cover, that Perio cover, because that thing is magnificent. That's where I'd want to get I mean, your Clark signature, but
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe this blank one, maybe that has something to do with it. But
What do you mean
I'm
you
like
don't want to
Brian.
you don't want to get your mom collection signed?
No, I'm gonna say no
all
on
right.
that one.
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
keep
go
that
no.
autograph
wait.
free.
Is this an inside joke? Because okay, what's going on here? Your mom collects comics?
No, the mom the mom comic book, the one that
Amelia
Amelia
Oh,
Clark
Clark.
one.
duh.
My mom does not collect comic books, no.
Hey, have you
Oh
guys
man.
heard the joke about the roof? Never mind, it's over your head.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Thank you, Comic Man Andy. King of freaking dad jokes over here. Yeah, so crazy for a blank cover. Yeah. And it's interesting. It's one of those weird blank covers where they put the little box in there. That was always weird to me too. So, all right, next. All right. I know everybody out there. I get it. It's a pain in the ass. It is what it is. Got to put a Star Trek book on the list every once in a while. You know how it works. It's just life sometimes. Sometimes you got to deal with it. And, you know, all the Star Trek fans out there are, you know, they love their Star Trek books. I get it. So what's going on here?
Okay, is this maybe like probably in the last 6 months? This is probably the fourth or fifth time a Star Trek book has joined the almost 10.
Yeah.
Like it's so I don't know if it's a trend at this point or if it's still an anomaly. I don't really know, but it seems like it keeps happening. I, but every time I see a Star Trek book, I just feel like I have to give my buddy Paul a shout out because he's literally like the biggest Star Trek nerd that I know, and he's probably not even that big of a Star Trek nerd because he likes Star Wars too. So, but it just feels like I have to always shout out Paul, Paul's problems for that. But 1 in 50.
I know how
I'm
that
s-
is, and I love our boy Paul. He's a good dude, but
Nerds. What is a
Yeah,
nerd?
it's a 1 in 50. I don't necessarily think it's that great of a cover, but it's a 1 in 50. Um, the non or the trade dress is I think a 1 in 25. It doesn't sell for that much, but this 1 in 50 is selling for 100 and a quarter. And it just came out this week. So do with it what you want. I don't know.
yeah, kind of weird. Look at the alien that's running on the far right. She's got a big smile. Kind of weird. Why is Nightwing hanging back there too?
I love Brian, man. Dude, I can't wait to go to a con with him when a Star Trek Trekkie actor or whatever, and then all the Trekkies are around and Brian starts a fight with them or something. Like,
Not gonna happen. You know why?
Look at me. Sure. I'm the captain now.
No.
That's why.
Brian used to trash can Star Trek fans in high school.
Yeah, maybe I was a Star Trek fan in high school. No,
No, you
not gonna
weren't.
happen. Not gonna happen. All right, next on the Almost 10. This is a book that heard a lot of people talking about. Is there a foil variant for this? I feel like Static Shadows of Dakota issue 4, the 1 in 25 variant. Where's the foil variant of this? It's on its way if it's not out already.
Yeah. Which speaking of, did you know that I won the number one of this, the foil, the 1 in 100?
No way.
I won a 9.8 of this.
How?
Nice.
On a raffle page, on a raffle page.
Oh,
So I won
nice.
this book. Yeah, from I can't remember who I won this from. Anyways, I won it from I won it from who did I win this from?
Only
Bruce
the
Knowles, I think?
rarest?
But that will be I won it, and it will end up probably being in a Stein pack. So somebody will probably end up getting it from me. So, but anyways, yeah, this one's cool. This one came out last week. It's 1 in 25. It's like 30 plus on this. So pretty cool book. I'm still thinking the Static stuff that's hard to find is still, I think, undervalued.
Totally agree.
Bro, last 5 issues. Be on the lookout all the time. That's one series that I'm constantly looking in back issue bins for. So I'm a fan of the old school stuff. So I haven't really got any of the new stuff. We'll take a look at it. What did you say this sold for?
This is like 30 plus, so it's a little bit above ratio. I probably should have checked it today, but I didn't. But
Nice. It's 1 in 25, and DC variants are killing it the last couple months. So good stuff.
yeah, I think it's a good cover.
I like the way that DC are doing their books lately. A little bit more quality, it feels like. So, all right, let's move on. Next, Secret Wars issue number 2, first appearance of Quake, aka Daisy Johnson. This was a big book back in the old school days, and I'm still a fan of that character from the TV shows. It's one of the few TV shows that had a couple great character moments that was on like major channels. That wasn't like a Daredevil or Netflix TV show. I loved, obviously everybody loves, what's the guy's name that died?
No, Phil
Coulson?
Coulson.
Coulson?
Everybody loves Coulson. Everybody loves Daisy. But you know what? I really freaking love the Ghost Rider portrayal
Reyes?
on that.
Robbie Reyes?
Yeah. Good
He
stuff.
did good. I love that show. I didn't hate that show at all. But yeah, I think so. I think people are still, and it's weird. Like the Quake character keeps popping up as they're going to use her going forward because she was a cool character, and
Yeah.
so people are still hanging on. This one has not really dropped too much. It did drop a little. It did get below, like 180, 175 for 9/8. For some reason, it was back up this week again. There was a 240 9/8 sale, so it is back up a little bit. It's just one to kind of watch because it's not the easiest of 9/8 because it's got like that cardboard cover.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
I've pressed probably maybe 10, 12 of these.
And it probably doesn't press well, right?
Yeah, it's really thick cardstock and it's super glossy too. So, because usually, I mean, as long as it's kind of weird, but like when you're with white covers, when you press them and it looks like it breaks color, but you can't tell because it's white, but you see that if it doesn't actually go in like tear, like almost like a tear, like go in through the cover, usually can get it out. But this one is tough because of how thick that wrap is, that cardstock. So
Interesting. Yeah, this whole series was a great series. At the time, I didn't think it was, but later on, spec-wise.
Yeah, Brian's totally right. I mean, you got issue 1, you have Victor Von Doom's daughter or wife or something like that, right? From Latvia. I forgot her name. What is her name? Chat. You guys are the best. Lucia von Barda. She's from Latvian. She's a success. She's like a female Doctor Doom. She's like related somehow. And then you have, of course, Quake. Here's the thing about cover A, though. It's a great cover. They're Delato covers, first of all. And it's black, and that's a tough cover because it's all black. But Comic Con's reporting over 116K on that one. Secret War 2 second print, just under 5K. So, I mean, I think this is the play for doing Quake.
Oh, yeah. All right, we got one more, you guys. Natalie Sanders variant for Sacred 6, issue number 1. Couple of Natalie Sanders variants for this. They did this one, and there's another one that she put out for another shop, maybe Comic Exposure, something like that. But, man, this one really had a big sale this week.
Yeah, first of all, I've never seen this cover. I haven't really paid much attention to any of these Sacred 6 books at all. But I know that there are some decent covers out there for some of these. But this one I've definitely never seen. I know people who really like Natalie Sanders' work. Some people really hate it because they all think they're all self-portraits. So I don't know. I mean, I can see why this one would be popular.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I can see that. But this being this popular, I'm not really sure about. CGC 9.8, $410 for this,
Wow.
which is when you now think about that first that first Winter Soldier sold for 100. You could have bought three first Winter Soldiers for the
Jeez.
same price as this. So
I kind of agree with Lucy. I'm not a big fan of Natalie Sanders. I don't know what it
what
is.
she
She's an
said,
amazing artist, but
but
Yeah.
Lucy says I don't not like her. So does that mean she
no,
does like her?
I don't know. Maybe I don't like her, but she's a great artist.
Hey, shout out to Mama Comic Lucy. She's been putting out some really good content lately. I don't know if you guys are following her on IG. You need to. She's putting out awesome reels and stories, and on Facebook and on IG. Also, she's shout out to Nearing Nirvana. She's one of the prime members of the Comic Book Women, turning into an iconic YouTube channel. She's doing really well.
Yeah, they had a great. I think they did their first little YouTube auction tonight. I was watching for most of it, so I lost out to Dre. No, Sands. It wasn't. I thought it was Sands. For some reason, I don't know why I'm thinking it was Dre. It was Sands Collectibles on a great lot for a book on the list tonight. So we'll continue on with said list. Let's get into it. The Hot 10 list. Starting off, I don't know why this is number 10, but we're going to hit stop on that real quick here, and I'm going to fix that. Let's do that. Sometimes you make a little mistake here and there, and you know how to fix them. So shout out to our boy Red Hood, who was also on that sale, doing good stuff over there. All right, here we go. All right, there's that. And then let me go like this. Also, you guys, make sure you guys are hanging out with Drunken Chat tonight following the show. We'll be sending you over there. So, all right, our Golden Age book of the week is... There we go. Triumph Adventure Comics, issue number 1. This is in some interesting stuff. This is the first appearance in Origin. Wow, shout out to we're a big fan of Chloe's Comic Swag, doing great things on IG. Chloe's Comic Swag says, good to see you guys back on it this week. Thank you for that shout out on the Almost 10. At that price, it was time to let it ride. You guys effing rock. Well, we couldn't agree with you more. Great sale on that Spiderman 2099 book. Way to pull a trigger on a big sale. So
Absolutely.
This one had a big sale this week also. This is a 1941 book. Very, very tough to find. I think they did like 10 issues or something like that. A lot of cool covers. But man, I think a coverless copy sold this week.
Oh my gosh, the sale! Like I had to actually look at it twice because I couldn't figure out what was going on with it. One, I didn't even know what the cover looked like because the sale had no cover. It didn't have staples either, so there was no cover and no staples um, on this book. But somehow um, it was it was slabbed, so it was a CGC NG, no grade, but it was authenticated. So I guess that's probably what helped it. But it is this is a Canadian white, so it is a little bit different of a book. If you don't know what Canadian whites are, they were books that were published like in the 40s. They use almost always. I think they all had cover or color covers, and then they're all black and white on the inside. I think is pretty much what they're called Canadian whites, but they're impossible to find. There is only one other graded copy on the census besides this NG, and it was like a restored 4.0 or something like that. That's it. There's no other copies of this book on the census. And this cover is pretty sweet now that I look at it. Now that I actually see the cover, it's a pretty cool cover. But literally the NG coverless, no staples, sold for $3,500 this week at auction on eBay. Yeah, insane. I like I said, I had to do a double take because I'm like, that is insane.
Ben, I got a question for you because I mean you're the master at this, so, and I don't really pay attention to Golden Age. Are you seeing a severe dip in a lot of Golden Age too?
There's some, but not near as much as like bronze, modern. The good stuff is still, like, anybody who sold their Golden Age, like at the height of COVID, is honestly are buying them back. They're just going back and buying them again. So they sold them and now they're buying them back.
So they took Brian's advice, basically.
Kind of. I mean, seriously, you think about it. If you follow Black Cat on Instagram, he sold his entire collection through Heritage. Had everything. Had a Black Cat collection sticker on all his CGC cases. Sold them all out, and now he's buying them all back. So there's. I don't want to say that that they're all at record highs, but I will say that there are a bunch that are selling for much higher than what they used to, that are still hitting record highs because they just don't come up for sale. Like, you're probably never going to see this book for sale again. So whoever wanted it, even though it has no cover, they're just going to buy it because you're never going to see it again. I mean, it's like a one of one. I mean, you're just not going to see these things. So you either buy it now or you just never get it.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. All right, next honorable mention this week. It's back. Spider-Man issue 7. This is the Humberto Ramos variant. The book that drove everybody crazy a few weeks ago is still hovering on the list this week as our honorable mention. Still selling.
Holy cow. Okay, so I this is another one I had to do a double take on. There were, this week alone, there were 60 plus CGC 9/8s that sold this week, just on eBay. All of them sold basically for $120 to $140. No, yeah, this is the Chad Cave book. $120 to $140. All of them. Okay, when did this book come out? 2 months ago? Month and a half ago?
Yeah, not even that, I don't think. Maybe a month ago.
There are, you're not going to believe this, there are already 2,500 9/8s in the census.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? That's one of the craziest things I've ever heard. You guys,
2,500 in a month.
Should not be holding the value it does with that many 9/8s already. There's got to be a ton of these books sitting out there.
That means when you sub them, you're hoping for a 9/9.
Yeah.
But again, 60 have sold this week. That's an insane amount for one book to sell.
What are the 9/8s selling at?
120 to 140, pretty much across the board.
Wow, that's kind of high for how many on the census. That's crazy.
Yeah.
In this market? Oh.
And that's why I had to put it on the, because it's so insane that it just doesn't make sense, at all.
I'm not going to suggest that you buy them to burn them, Chad, but I will suggest people out there buy them to send them to our friend Josh's Comics, and just write FOMO wins. So let's continue.
Josh's Comics blocked me, and I didn't even say anything to him.
Yeah.
So look, if we look at the chat, and literally every single person is like, "This book sucks. Why are you buying? Who would buy this?" And I don't disagree. But I mean, the fact is, it's selling more than any comic out there. Any.
Yeah.
I mean, it's selling more than Winter Soldier.
I mean, still. It doesn't. It's insane.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it, but you
Wait
guys
until this character crashes in a couple months. All right, let's get into it. At number 10 this week, Spider-Man 2099 meets Spider-Man. This is a great book that I used to pick up constantly. You could find these in dollar bins. Prestige format book. There is a newsstand version of it. That's pretty rare too. Great cover. Killer book. You got Venom. You got Spider-Man 2999. Spider-Man. Peter David storyline. Always a fun pickup. What's it selling for on the secondary right now?
I mean, like you said, this was like $1 book. I mean, on eBay, it was basically selling for like $4 or $5. I mean, it was nothing. It's selling for like 15 plus now, and I'm guessing it's just strictly because of Into the Spider-Verse, right?
Shout out to Mayor Daly.
Well, I mean, there's multiple first appearances in here. I mean, not only the first meeting, but you got the first appearance of a new reality called 2211, I believe. Hobgoblin 2211, kind of like 2099, and then Spider-Man 2211 as well.
Interesting. Huh. We're getting close to 2099 in reality, you guys.
I hope I live that long.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we never die. All right. What'd you say this is selling for?
$15 on this.
Not bad. All right. At number 9 this week, this is one of my favorite books of the week. This is the DC Pride 2023 issue. I love the regular cover of this. Beautiful spot gold foil around the sides. But man, this one is absolutely beautiful. This is the 1 in 50 version of the Jen Bartel cover. Dark. It's all dark black. The regular version's white, but such a killer cover. And I haven't seen if there's spot foil around this, but if they did like a pink rose gold spot foil like they did on the white version with the gold foil, gorgeous book. Saw it the other night at the comic shop. Blew me away how good it looked in my hand. So
yeah, I mean, it's clearly a Bartel cover, right? I mean, there would be no doubt. You just see it, in the color palette is straight Bartel. But yeah, it's selling for 75 to 80. But I will say that if you look at DC's, like the last few years they've done these on these Pride books, they sell well to start with, and then they don't. And then nobody wants them. So
yeah, this is a cover buy, obviously, on a straight cover buy. So, all right, moving on to number 8 this week. Oh boy, the Rocketeer special. This is the Adam Hughes 1 in 10 Virgin. I was stoked to pick one of these up the other night. Shout out to Laura from Bird City Comics, talking about it on her show, saying, I think it was on that show. I think that was a show, talking that these are still available. Went and picked up a couple of the Virgins and a couple of the just regular trades. And yeah, who doesn't love a cool Rocketeer cover? On top of that, throwing Adam Hughes doing a Dave Stevens, homage series or whatever it is. This is killer book. A lot of people going to be picking these up.
Yeah, this one's you said this is the 1 in 10. This one's selling for like 20 to 30. Do you think this one is better or worse than the Kickstarter?
I like the Kickstarter better.
Oh yeah, I mean, and the secondary is actually liking it better too. I think it's like 100 plus. I pre-ordered 2 1 in 10s, and I got 1 in 25, and then Wednesday, I'm not going to say the name, but I went to an online retailer and they actually had both of them cheaper than what I paid, so I picked up 1 more of each.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's smart. That's real smart.
Yeah, I think I might like this one better.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Why? Just the design.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. There's just something about this one that I think I might like better, but I don't know. I don't own any of them, so I don't really have any reason to like one more than the other. Um, I don't know. It's just something. It just reminds me. I think what this reminds me of is like when, and maybe this is just like nostalgia, but it reminds me of like when Christopher Reeve picked up Lois Lane and flew her up into the clouds.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that. Cool stuff. Well, I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about this book as the months continue on this book might show up a couple times on this list. So, all right, let's move on. Number 7 this week. Oh, here we go. Ghost Spider number 2, early Peach Momoko book. This is the 1 in 25 variant. Such a major book back in the days. This was probably like the first 3 or 4 covers that really blew up for Peach Momoko, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. So as you're watching, Edge of Spider-Verse 2 drop below $1,000 for 9/8, you see this one hit 1,600 for a 9/8.
What were they selling for a month ago? You know what I mean? I would love to know.
There's not a whole lot of them out there. I mean, I will say that. I would have to look back at the census on this, but there are not that many. So it is hard to find, for sure. But when you kind of just put it in perspective, okay, would I rather spend $1,600 on a 9/8 and a half of her first appearance, or one of these? I don't know, but it's just kind of food for thought.
I'll be honest. Not necessarily a hot take, but it is a warm take. This is a garbage cover, man. I feel like Decor's Kid could draw better than this. You know what I mean? Like, let's get a Bowser selfie variant from Decor's Kid, because this one looks like a kid drew it. You know
I like it.
It's a good design.
I like her face. I like the hood. Her torso looks odd.
Yes. And I love how the design of the phone kind of bleeds in, and that's great. There's just something about Peach Momoko, man, that when she hits, it is out of this world, but that's so rare nowadays. And most of her stuff, there's something about it that looks very off and very childlike.
Yeah, it's almost like, I don't want to say lazy, but like sloppy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is. Because she's amazing. Like, man, especially when she does, and I call it like the traditional Japanese types. I mean, you can always see that in her art, but when she hits like on that, it is next level beauty. I'm just not a fan of this one. I never was, but it's for 1,600, man, for 9/8. You guys sell this book for 1,600 and then buy it again in a year for
who
500.
I mean, honestly, does anybody have this?
Yeah, if anybody in the chat, let us know if you guys have one of these, and if you're catching this on the rewind, let us know if you've owned one of these in the comments.
It looks like Wilbert might have it.
Was this the first selfie cover, or was the first selfie cover the Spider-Woman one? Wasn't there a Spider-Woman one for by Momoko, or was this the first one? Because I know the first selfie cover was the Momoko, right? It was this or another Momoko. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
You know what also is a good Momoko cover, and it came out right around this time, is Fallen Angels 2, 125 with X23. That's actually a really good one. She did good there.
Yeah, I agree.
4 9/8s? Holy cow.
Price has never dropped on this one. What do you mean?
No, it was.
What was it selling for 3 months ago?
Hold on. I will pull it up right now. Ghost Spider. This is 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the 2019 issue number 2. 9/8 variant. 2021 let's see here. Well, this is definitely the high for this year. So this year the sales are $820, $1,100, $1,650.
$820. You could have got one of these for $820. How many months ago?
This was. Hold on. Yeah.
I'm looking at cover price. You could have got it August 2021, $450.
Think about
February,
that, you guys.
Yeah, February 821. Yeah, last year in December the sales were 1,900, 741, 825, 800, 847, 650 a year ago this week. So it was 650 last year this time.
You could have got this for half price less than a year ago.
Yep.
Congrats to everybody that has one of these in 9.8 that should be selling it right now. And if you really want it again in 5 months, pick it up, because this is definitely one of those books to capitalize on the Edge of Spider-Verse spec. All right. 200 watching live, you guys. We are a little bit less than halfway into the list this week. If you guys didn't catch the Almost 10 and buy the dip, make sure to check it out on the rewind. Some great stuff in there. Also, check out the links in the description below. Go sub up to Spec Media, which is Richie's channel, and Beyond Wednesdays. And let's move on to number 6 this week. One of my favorite all-time books, Marvel Preview issue number 2, Origin. It's an early Origin of the Punisher magazine. I always call this a magazine book because it's magazine size. You guys know I love to collect magazines, and I am lucky enough to have a really, really nice copy of this that I probably need to send in to CGC.
Yeah, and they have shrunk their magazine size. Like it's not going to take a year and a half now to get them back. They apparently have caught up on their magazines, so you will get them back in a timely manner. Just if anybody wants to start sending stuff magazine size back to CGC, it just so happens to correspond with the time that CBCS started grading magazine size. So
for cheap too.
Yeah, so find that kind of cool, coincidental.
Yeah.
You guys can probably tell me better than what I would know. I don't know why this one would be have basically raw copies is kind of where we're looking on this, because there's not that many graded copies. Raw copies were around 50-ish. Now there's 75 to 100. Is there something specific about the first appearance in here?
One of those sales is probably mine, because I just sold mine last week for like $86.
Yeah, there you go.
But first appearance of Maria Castle, Frank's wife, and also I think he even has a solo title or solo series. Dominic Fortune first appearance in this as well. The origin of Frank Castle in this is not the origin of the Punisher; it's the origin of Frank Castle. So, Netflix Punisher series where the family passes away, and the adaptation. This is kind of the source material of this book right here.
Great cover too.
So is there something going on with his wife?
I haven't heard anything, but here's what I have heard. I've heard from multiple brick and mortar shop owners lately, 2 of them, that people have been coming in looking for early Punisher books, second appearance, third appearances, origins, asking, looking, buying, which is very interesting. So it makes me wonder if there's something maybe that we haven't heard, or
no, there was news that came out. There was news that came out. What is today? Friday. So it came out, I think, Monday. The Punisher series is in development, and Punisher's going to. It's not confirmed, but he's rumored to show up in Born Again. According to Cosmic Circus and the director Daniel RPK in this particular, they're saying that. Punisher John Bernthal is going to show. He's saying that the source is confirmed, but but the MCU hasn't confirmed it. On top of that, Bernthal just came out in the news this week and said that he's going to do he wants to do the Punisher. He's going to do it he uses that vague language, but there's one thing. There's one thing he wants to change, and the thing is that they want to change Jigsaw. The guy that played Jigsaw in Netflix series, I forgot his name, but they want to reboot him. They want to retcon him or reboot him somehow.
They should. Jigsaw is such a great character, and I felt like I mean, the Jigsaw character in the Netflix series wasn't terrible. I like the guy that played him, and I thought the Punisher Netflix series was great all around. But I think they should reboot that Jigsaw character, because in the comics he's much meaner and scarier and such a foil, like the opposite of Frank Castle. So
Okay, I'm gonna totally make fun of myself here because I've never read The Punisher. I don't really know much about The Punisher, and I didn't get the chance to watch the TV show. When you said Jigsaw, I swear I thought they were doing like a crossover with Saw. Like, I was like, man, that would be awesome. But no.
I mean, Brian brought up actually a good point. I'm glad you gave us that information, Brian, because I'm thinking about this and I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, because ASM 129 is just like completely out of reach for like 95% of people right now. I mean, even during the dip, I mean, that's just like a holy grail,
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's probably cheaper than it's been in a couple of years, but you're right. It's one of those big boys. So. And listen, here's the other thing. We've said it a couple of times in the past, 6 months, that, or at least I have, that I think the pendulum is starting to swing the other way in collecting, where we went really modern, exclusive variant, pretty shiny. And I think it's starting to swing the other way now, back to keys, vintage, high grade rarity, right? And major historical books. And to me, that doesn't mean just first appearances. That means second appearances, third appearances, origin issues, major issues in their storylines, aka Death of Gwen Stacy. When Frank, remember back in the late issues of his series where they changed him, he went in for some operation and he came out African American. He came out black. He was like a black guy, and that was a real big weird thing. You know what I mean? Like those type of weird books, I think people are going to start looking for those weird storyline issues too, if that makes sense, because I don't think people really cared about storylines for a long time. Here's another interesting too. Mark O brings up the Garth Ennis stuff, and I think that was slept on for so long. It got a little bit of love, but man, that whole he did a couple runs of that stuff. It was so good. So I really like all of Punisher. I've always been a big fan of the Punisher. All right, let's move on. Let's get into the top half of the list. Make sure you guys are hitting that thumbs up. At number 5 this week, Spider-Man 2, issue number 1, first appearance of Evil Miles, aka Ultimatum.
Okay, so this was only selling for like $5 to $10 raw. Now it's selling for like 20. I have a feeling that this has something to do with something that must have happened in the Spider-Man movie. I haven't seen it, but I did see that there was something that happened at the end. That's all I know. I don't know much else. So I'm trying not to spoil anything because I don't really have anything to spoil because I don't know. But that's the only thing I'm assuming.
Yeah. It's we're going to talk about this tomorrow. Go through the whole, I guess you could say the whole pathway through Miles. We're going to talk about villains and stuff. I'm going to see the movie before the show tomorrow. I'm going to go at like 10:30 in the morning tomorrow. So, but yeah, Brian's right. First appearance of Evil Miles, aka Miles 616. Remember, during this time, Miles was a 1610 guy, and then he got trapped in the 616. And then different guy. People don't read books, and they think that the Miles, they were like the same looking person. Well, he's actually on the cover of number 3, cover A, and that is like a 50 cent to $1 book. It's the first cover appearance of Miles Morales 616. Go into volume 4 of Miles Morales Spider-Man in 2019. And issue number 10 is still a very affordable book, especially cover A, because like Brian says, he becomes Ultimatum in that book. He's pretty vicious. He's all through the run, and he's on the cover of cover A, which is a dirt cheap book. So
very cool. What's this one selling for again?
now it's what I say, 20.
Okay.
20.
So,
Yeah.
yep.
Not bad. Not bad.
The Tedesco 1 in 50 is a monster, though.
Yes,
I
it
wonder
is.
what it is right now.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of these variants, man, from this era the Miles variants are so good. Such tough books. A lot of those sold in the last couple of weeks too, before the movie came out. So you could pick up some books that were selling for $6-7 for less than half. So
I feel
All
like
right.
I feel like I really am missing out the fact that just the word of mouth on this one, and as good as the first one is, most people that I've heard say this one is better than the first one, which
Oh
is
wow.
insane.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah. John Horn says picked up the 1 in 50 of this for $15 a few months ago.
No
Congrats.
way. Wow. Great play.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Next at number 4, a gorgeous Harley Quinn cover by David Nakayama. This is the 1 in 25 to Harley Quinn issue number 30. So there is something a little off about her, and I don't know, maybe it's like her torso, but here's what I love about this. There's a Nakayama cover for Ultimates where he has, I forget the character's name. I think she has a pink costume and she's sitting on a bomb like this, just like this. And it's early Nakayama, like 2011, I think, maybe even earlier. Great early Nakayama covers in that run, but that's one of my favorite all-time Nakayama's covers, and I love how he kind of called back to that with this.
yeah, it's very subtle. Like if you are just kind of just looking at just Harley Quinn, you don't notice the bomb at all. Um, but what does it say?
Ye
Old?
old giant bomb.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so this one came out 2 weeks ago. Last week it's a 1 in 25. Last week it was selling for like 30 to 40. Now it's selling for 70 plus. So it's still going up. It's kind of got the same trajectory that Silk had a month ago or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That one ended up getting over 100, but then it dropped back to the 70, 80 range. So my guess is this may end up with the same type of trajectory. Although obviously Harley is a more popular character than Silk. So, but
Man.
yeah, Nakayama just keeps.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's on
churning
fire.
out a bunch. He's churning out a bunch of covers for sure.
Nakayama is probably one of the hottest artists. Him, John Jang, Lobos. There's a couple artists out there that everything they touch is just on fire right now. So very, very cool. All right, let's continue on with the top 3, you guys. Over 200 watching live right now. Please hit that thumbs up button, you guys. It's one of the most important things for the YouTube algorithm is for you guys to hit that thumbs up if you like the show. And I hope you guys are enjoying the show. We spend a lot of time and a lot of effort to put this show out. I know that you guys, kind of a thing that we go so late, but it takes some time to get this show together, and Stein spends a lot of time, looking at data throughout the week. And it's a lot of effort to do this stuff. As you guys know, we all have our own channels and we all, do our own content too. So make sure you guys, if you're not already subbed up here, please sub up and check out Richie's channel, Spec Media, and my channel Beyond Wednesdays for more content. Let's move on to number 3 this week. Amazing Spider-Man, the movie, issue number 1. This is a sweet photo cover with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. That's her name, right? Emma Stone. This has always been a big book for, not always, probably for the last 2 years. It's been a book that's been tough to find, a great signature series book. But Andrew Garfield getting a lot of talk right now. So what's going on?
Yeah. Again, this one was selling well last week and went even higher this week. It started selling high again, only because I think because Andrew Garfield signed with CGC, he will be doing his signing sometime this summer. I don't know exactly when it is, but it will be coming up soon. So Raws basically are back to like they drop to like probably 40 bucks or something. Again, like Brian said, this is not the easiest book to find. There aren't that many Andrew Garfield photo covers. So if you want one, this one is kind of one you kind of default to. One, because it's not a variant, so it's not like it's stupid hard to find, but it's still not that easy. But it is kind of nice. You could get both Garfield and Stone on the same cover, which is kind of nice. But yeah, Raws are pushing 100. A 9.8 this week hit $1,000 for this. Yeah, so
non-signed 9.8,
non-signed, unsigned 9.8, $1,000.
Wow, that's interesting.
How much would you pay? Garfield's signature is like $250, I think, from CGC. Thinking of other Hollywood, I mean, like obviously like Harrison Ford's like $1,000, $1,200, something like that, to get him to get something signed. How much importance would you spend that on any actor, or would there be a specific actor you might do that for?
Alive?
That is still alive today.
I mean, unless I'm making some type of flip, no. I'm not an autograph guy. As I get older, I think autographs become cheesier and cheesier. And spending money on an autograph, even if it's like, like one of my heroes, like sports heroes growing up, like if Lawrence Taylor was signing and he was charging $30, I don't even think I'd pay $30 to get a Lawrence Taylor signature. You know what I mean? Like I'm over that. It's not my thing anymore. But if I'm doing it for a flip and the juice, sorry you guys, and the juice is worth the squeeze, then I might do it. But there's nobody out there that I would personally pay money for at my age. I'm just over. I'm over asking people for autographs too. It's weird.
I personally, I mean, that's actually a great question. There's a couple come to mind. I wouldn't mind having an Elizabeth Olsen on like a nice Scarlet Witch 1/100, or like that Tarot one shot incentive that went crazy for a while. But I'd rather have like a Hughes or McFarlane's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con this year. I'd rather have him remark something, like sketch something on the side of like ASM 301, that white cover, that have him do something on there. I'd rather do that. Spend the money.
Yeah, I think the only autographs that I would pay for nowadays would be like somebody like a Frazetta autograph, a Kirby autograph, that type of thing. Somebody alive, I don't really. I see like Chad brought up like Joe Rogan. I'm a big Joe Rogan fan, but I already have his autograph. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's anybody out there that I would pay anymore. So
I would. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm not, because I'm clearly not an autograph hound at all. I mean, I think they're silly. I don't quite get them, but I do think that there are probably a very select few autographs only for people that have like, I don't want to say like what's the word, like pop culture significance, like not just an Andrew Garfield, not just an Elizabeth Olsen, that's that are in pop culture but haven't like changed the game. I would want something like that that zombie Clint Eastwood cover signed by Clint Eastwood.
Or that wasn't there like a crazy SpaceX book that got done, or an Apple book comic? It'd be cool to get like a Elon Musk on autograph on that one.
Something like that. Or
Yeah.
I would love, and I don't even know if there are any, but I would love to have a Yellow Label president, like either the Barack Obama or George Bush, or any of the living presidents. I don't even care who they are. I don't even care if I agree with them. I just think historically that would be a super cool. There's also one that I would love to have, that would have to cross genres. I would love to have that Punisher Tim Duncan cover
Yeah.
signed by Tim Duncan,
Yeah.
because it's not Tim Duncan's not a comic thing. He's a sports, he's a sports figure. So I would love to have that, something signed by a sports figure that is in a CGC slab. That something completely different, not these run of the mill where 5,000 people are sending books for Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a million of them out there. Does that really change? No, that
Right.
I want something so different that just seems really, really odd.
Yeah, like a what was Hunter S. Thompson's attorney's name? Be cool to have an autograph of him. Something like crazy, like somebody that are missing, and you get like Helen Keller. I want a Helen
so-
Keller autograph.
So Chat Cave says sports card's a different animal. So yeah, so when
No.
it comes to so it's a weird thing with sports cards. You don't want a signed, rookie card of somebody. You don't want anything like that. You want it as original as possible. But I will say that my friend, he's a huge. What he does is he actually sends cards to a lot of different people, and he gets these
Through the
really
mail?
through the mail. He gets these really unique signatures where not only does he ask for them to sign it, but he has them write something. Like he sent a card to Brooks Robinson, had him sign it, and had him inscript it in quotes, "The Sweeper."
That's
So
cool.
so he has all these cards with all these little sayings, like they'll put 14 times All-Star or something additional just besides just their name. So it's
Pete
and
Rose
it's
saying
not
I
on
bet on baseball.
something just really off the wall that's so unique. I think those kind of signatures, like I would have, if I were to do like a comic thing, I know it sounds really weird, but I would get a writer, like a really popular writer, to draw a sketch, even if it's complete garbage, just to be something so different
Right.
than just a signature.
Yeah.
I got Pete Rose's autograph when I was 13 years old at Del Mar Racetrack. The guy is a legit gambler. He goes
he's a
there all the
derelict.
time.
And I love
got
derelicts. Don't get me wrong.
Buzzy
I'm a derelict
Bavasi,
myself.
Buzzy Bavasi's autograph there too. I always thought I've never been to a con. I've been to Long Beach Expo, but I've never been to a big con before. So I always thought those minor keys, those first meetings and first battles, that would be a cool way. That would be a cool way to make that like an expensive book. Like if they adapted those two to a TV series, those two characters first, let's say 2099 and Peter Parker, and then they adapted and they got actors and they show up at San Diego Comic-Con, get that first meeting or first battle book and have those two actors sign that. I think that would be a good idea for that too.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, you guys. Let's get into the top two. At number 2 this week, this is we talked about the other Momoko book in the list this week, and this isn't a terrible Momoko. This is it's not the best Momoko, but it's not bad. Really reminds me of her No Heroine stuff, her early No Heroine stuff, and some early Hive Comics variants too. But man, this book is on fire right now. World Tree issue number 1. This is the second print Momoko Virgin variant. It's a thank you store variant, 1 per store. Going crazy right now.
What is up with this World Tree? Because there are
Tiny and
man.
It got pushed because of the error. Yeah, I have one coming. I got lucky on Wednesday, but yeah, it's a
I
good
picked
one.
up. I just got this one in the mail. I really like this one.
Oh, nice. I like that one too.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a gorgeous, and this is the spot foil. So if you guys have never seen this one, let me show this to you guys real quick here. This is the spot foil. So like the red on her face is foil. It's the UK
that's cool.
spot foil.
That's
So,
cool, bro.
Yeah. And on the blade, and it's beautiful, beautiful frizzen. So I really
I
like
was
this
gonna ask
one.
if that was frozen. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a cool one. There's a gorgeous John Jang for shout out to our boy Drew at Wanted Comics. He's got a gorgeous John Jang one. There's some really good ones. I think Bird City did one, if I'm not mistaken. Man, there's some really good variants out there for World Tree. A lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Hey, and you both know that I am not a Momoko fan at all. But this one does, for Momoko, this one's not, and maybe it's because half her face is completely covered. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But this one's not bad. But it is selling for $75 to $100 for this one per store second print. So
yeah, there's a bunch of auctions right now that through the weekend they're already at like $75.
It's crazy. I can't believe this thing is selling for that much, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The gold variant, you're right, Lewis, is nice. I like the Frism ones and I like the John Jang one. Those are my favorites.
Hockey, I'm glad you asked that. So when I picked up the thank you, I got every cover, and but I also picked up 2 of the second print so I could read it. So
nice. All right, you guys. We all know what number 1 was going to be this week. Let's get into it. Ultimate Fallout number 4, First Miles.
Death of Miss Marvel.
First appearance of the Maker. That's why this is important, you guys. But yeah, so here's the interesting thing. These were selling, a year ago for $3,000 a pop, 9/8. What are they selling for now, Stein?
So just a few weeks ago, they pretty much bottomed out to like 15 to 1600. This was just a few weeks ago. Everybody was kind of, I don't know if they were just dumping them. I don't know. But this week, tons of sales of this, which is crazy when you think about a book that's this expensive. Tons of sales on this, back up to 2K for this now. I still think there is because there's so many of these books out there, 2K for the 9/8s, 9/6s are like 40% of that. So like $750 for 9/6.
Wow, really?
It's a big drop down to 9. And then the gap between like 9/6 and like 8/0 is not much. 9/4s to 8/0, there's hardly a price difference between
Crack
any
those
of
and sell them raw.
Press them. So, but just tons of sales. Yeah, whoever was just basically getting rid of these for 1,500-1,600, I would have just kept it. I would have not got rid of it for that cheap of a price.
Yeah.
Now, is 2K too much? I don't know, but I wouldn't have pawned it off for 15.
And the other thing about this is, the Maker character is such a great character. Now, the Maker's true first appearances, Ultimate Fallout or Ultimate Fantastic Four, right? That's his true first appearances as Reed Richards of the Ultimate Fallout or Ultimate Universe, but he becomes the Maker in this, right? That's where he kind of takes the evil turn. Am I wrong about that?
Well, I don't think he puts the costume on. I mean, if I recall, I don't think he. Actually, it's really funny. A lot of people, nobody talks about this, but he actually shows up in a splash page cameo in full costume, but he's not named, and he talks. In Ultimate Comics, the Ultimate's number 1. A lot of people don't always say number 2, but they forget about number 1. He actually shows up in number 1 on the splash page, but then in number 2 is when you actually see him. I think the other one that a lot of people talk about is what is it? Ultimate Comics or Ultimate Doom number 4 or something like that. But I mean, I read that book and I don't think I don't remember him actually being the Maker. I just know him. I don't know. I can't remember. It's a convoluted first appearance. This is the kind of first appearance you just want, or spec. You just want to get variants.
Yeah. Rainin3 says, I have a newsstand version. Would like your guys' opinion. Would you flip or hold on to? Man, I might hold on to a newsstand. At least until the live action stuff.
100.
Yeah. That might be one book that I hold on to. I don't know.
That's one of those you're not going to be able to replace.
Yeah.
Nope. So that's kind of like that's kind of one of those like that's always my issue with a lot of the books that I have in my collection is most of them are not easy to find. So
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of like books that everybody else has. I have things that most people have never heard of. So when I decide to move something, I have to kind of come down to the point of I know I'm not going to be able to replace this. So
Yeah.
if I get rid of this, I'm basically saying this book is going to not be with me forever unless I find it raw again. That's pretty
Mm.
much the only way that I'm going to get this book back because you just don't find them. So you kind of have to ask yourself, would I feel okay getting rid of it now, or should I, or is this one that I'm going to regret getting rid of? And you kind of give the uh, what's that Chinese lady that did the uh, basically ask yourself on all of your stuff that you have. If it brings you joy, keep it. If it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to ask yourself that.
Well, it still blows me away that this is $1,000 less than it was a year ago, and we just got the announcement of the live action. We got the movie, Spider-Verse 2 coming out this weekend. This book should be more, in my opinion, than $3,000 because of how big this character is. It's such a mind fuck to know how much these things have dropped in a year for key blue chip books,
Yeah, but again, you basically still have to take that COVID curve and just chop it out of your existence. Like you just have to
Mm-hmm.
just take it out of your mind that COVID period basically just all the grids need to just shrink and just get rid of that out of everybody's psyche and and then if you look at it from that point then that curve is still just slowly going up. It's not, so you just have to get rid of that, and not just on this book but pretty much on any book.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid Yeah, Marie Kondo, that's her. I couldn't remember what her name was, but yeah, you just have to get rid of that mind out of your psyche. And if you can do that, then you can kind of at that point realize, yeah, okay, it's still up from what it was 3 years ago. Um, so you kind of to play with that a little bit, but
Yeah. Well, you guys, there it is. That is the list for this week. Make sure you guys drop a comment if you're catching this on the rewind and let us know what you think and answer some of those questions that we've asked tonight. But before you guys all bail, I want to go back and take a look at some of the questions that or comments that were left on not the last show but the show before last week, because we didn't have a show last week. So I figured it'd be a good thing to, at the end of every show, to kind of take a look at the comments on the last show. So let's go ahead and do that really quick here. Starting off with our boy Heroes Reborn, that says that Nakayama Silk #1 is definitely a fire cover. The only problem I have is, why is Peter Parker not keeping up with that? Wasn't she in love with Peter? And in the movie she kind of was, right, as a young kid. Wasn't that Cindy Moon type thing? And then in early Silk, was she in love with Peter? I can't remember. Yeah. Tomb says, this is my #1 favorite comic show, hands down, easily by 1 million times. This is the perfect show for me. I love all the sections, and big yes to top 10s by artists special shows, which is something I think that we're gonna try and take care of. So
we're gonna do.
Yeah. Kirby says, I miss Richie, but Hood does keep me laughing. Great show. Love the Paul Green Man Goat book. There we go. Shout out to our boy Hood. Scott Isom says, when I was a kid back in the 80s living on an Air Force base in England, the Stars and Stripes books would the Stars and Stripes bookstore would stamp all the comics I would buy with a star stamp, regardless if it had a Mark Jewelers ad in it or not. I do remember a lot of Mark Jewelers ads. I still have my G.I. Joe 21 newsstand with a Mark Jewelers ad still attached. It's a bit torn up though. So that's good information. We were wondering if all the Mark Jewelers had star stamps or not, and where the star stamps were coming from. Leverage says the rumors are that Larry's Limited was printed way more than we were told. That was the Invincible Larry's Comics variant that we talked about. Heroes adds that the Ambassadors #2 is such an obvious cover swipe of Adam Hughes' Power Girl. And he also says $1,100 for an NYX3 is still not bad considering its drop/dip in price. I agree. Real Fake Comic says it was hilarious when Red Hood yelled out the almost 10. Please add this sound clip to the intro. We'll be adding more sound clips as we move forward, I imagine. Leverage says again, the first book I graded at CBCS was also NYX #1. I paid 50 cents each for 2 copies. Both came back 9/8. Sold one, kept one. And he sold his for $400 very long time ago. That's pretty nice. That's pretty cool. Steve says, great show. Thanks, guys. Dax Comic says, Null still better than Spidey Boy, guys. I hope he can come back stronger and with better writing. What do you guys think Null is going to come back?
Probably. He's pretty popular.
Yeah. Good point. Ants B3 says, W with exclamation points. The Jabba #1 second print is dope, but there has to be dozens of Boba Fett cover with the exact pose. So many, so close. Homages almost. Brad Selden, shout out to Brad, one of our OGs, says, fell asleep for half the show, but it was a good one. I don't blame you. We're up pretty late on these Fridays. Chip Smith says, if one of Stein's shirts doesn't have a foil variant look, you fail, and a graded and newsstand variant.
Oh, and by the way, I have ordered. Why am I echoing?
Oh, that's my fault. Hold on. That's my fault. Now you're good.
So I have ordered. They are on the way. I will have House of Stein stickers, House of Stein magnets. They are on their way. So my wife is actually working with a local t-shirt place that she does with her work. So there will be shirts. I'm going to get Brian and Richie one. And I will probably also, let's see, who else have we had pretty regularly on the show?
Hood,
Mel.
Yee, Mel. I'll get everybody a shirt. And then you guys will, and I actually, and you're going to find this funny, I do have a sticker that will be a variant sticker. It is a foil sparkle sticker. So those will be limited. I saw it look good. Yeah, they will be very limited. I did not order very many of those, so those will be limited. But I'm actually going to, and this is how I'm going to do Stein packs going forward, is I am going to actually set up a Shopify. I'm not going to be selling. I'm not setting up a store. I'm not doing anything like that. But I am going to set up a Shopify that only people, and I'm going to basically only allow people that are Instagram followers, YouTube followers, to be able to have access to the Stein pack. So there's not going to be some just random person that's just going to jump in and steal your Stein pack for the next one. You will.
Great idea.
Yeah, so I think that's the way I'm gonna have to do it, to where you guys will have the option to be able to get that.
Sequential Geek says, Ole, you need purple? I got you, bro. Quoting Red Hood. That was fucking hilarious. I agree.
See him come back to the house.
Chris says the UK comic market is very different to the USA. 68 million people crushed into a country the size of one of your states. That's why we need a sense of humor. Shout out to our UK fans and community members. Chris is one of the longtime OG UK community members. Luke says, good night, Thrawn. And with laughing emojis. Bill says there are some that do not have the star stamp. So there we go. Decoit says, I will personally never invest in Mark Miller comics. We have Precedent, Secret Service, Jupiter's Legacy. None of these books ever appreciated considerably and retained value. June says, big W. Smoke Ghost says, that's a big fat W. Volsi says, great energy this show. I'm so fucking kissers. I missed it. For some reason, I couldn't bring up the live show up. That's
Sith
interesting.
rule.
Yeah. And I think Spider-Boy is Green Goblin's grandson, says Cool Comic Guy. Interesting.
Normie?
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Normie
That's
Osborn?
Yeah, that's a great... Ooh. We'll have to keep an eye on that. So shout out to everybody that drops us comments in the replay in the YouTube section. We appreciate it. And again, we can't thank you guys enough. Appreciate you guys supporting us and joining us. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the show. We'll see you guys tomorrow night on Spec Media. Make sure you guys check out Richie's show. And then, of course, the Modern Comic Mayhem tomorrow night. We'll see how that plays out. I'm going to try and go to Phoenix Fan Fusion tomorrow. We'll all see how it plays out because I got to call a locksmith in the morning. Because get this, you guys. My driver's side door on my car won't frickin' open. And the only way to take the door panel off to fix the lock, for some reason the lock is stuck, right? So like I put my key in, it won't open. I do the power locks on, it won't click open. So I can't open my driver's side door. And I was in it when I, got home and I went to go open my door wouldn't open. So I had to crawl out of the passenger side. And here I am, 6'2", 300 pounds in this little Toyota trying to get, what the, I'm so glad nobody was out watching me. I felt like such a goober. But,
Shaq and Miata.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like Shaq and a Miata. But I'm going to be calling a locksmith hopefully in the morning to try and figure that out. And if I get that all taken care of, I'll be hanging out with the Bird City crew and doing a panel with some new friends that I met last night. So I hope to talk more about that tomorrow night on Modern Comic Mayhem. But we got a lot of interesting stuff going on behind the scenes for all the content creation stuff. And I can't wait to let you guys in on it. Also, for everybody that's going to be out in San Diego, make sure to say hello to us if you see us out there. I know a lot of us are going to be going, and I plan on being out there also. So we'll see you there. That being said, adios.
See you.
Peace.